Welcome into another edition of Coming Home. I'm here today with Ryan Enos, played at DBU from 2007 to 2010, an All-American in 2010, and also a member of that first ever team that got to a regional. We'll get to that in a second, but first let's start with your recruiting process. Now, the legend is that you were first seen at a practice there in Flower Mound. Take us through what the recruiting process was like for you, and I'm sure it's changed a lot now.
Yeah, it was definitely unique. So I at the time was coming off of an injury. I'd had surgery on my foot. I hadn't been able to play for a while, and I can't remember exactly how Coach Heath and Coach Free kind of found out about me or heard about me, but essentially I wasn't even like up and running 100%. I was just getting to the point where I was playing games again, and so Coach Free came out to a practice, and we were in the cage, and he maybe watched me hit for 20 minutes, and my head coach was throwing me BP, and that was all they saw of me at the time. Like, that was it before I got an offer. So, yeah, that was it.
So you play in 2007, 2008. There's a head coaching change. You know, Coach Hefner was on the staff, but he becomes the head coach. What do you recall going into that season, the feeling of the team with the leadership change?
Yeah, so we got a call that early in that summer, letting us know that Coach Newman had taken a job elsewhere. And I think everybody's question was like, are we starting from scratch? Are we starting over? And then we immediately got the follow-up call to let us know that Coach Hefner was taking over. And I think across the board, I think we all just felt like really secure, because in a lot of ways, Hefner was the guy that we were, because Coach Newman had been pitching with the pitchers a lot, us position players had dealt with Hefner every single day already. So, and we just felt super confident in his, ability as a coach, that he knew us as players, and we had been kind of sitting under his leadership already and learning from him. And so for us, it just made sense.
What a year 2008 was. You guys, at the end of the season, sweep San Francisco in a wild series, and probably 3 games you had to have. Yeah. You're an independent team, so there's no conference tournament. What was that week and a half or week stretch like, where you have to sit and wait to know if you got into the tournament, and then it had to just be exuberation once you did finally get in, become the first DBU team to do so? Yeah,
I mean, I think it was uncharted territory for us, not having a conference tournament, and then a lot of these other guys were going the next weekend to play in a conference tournament. And so I think, Hefner and the coaching staff did a good job of just, hey, we are going, let's prepare like we're going. And so we got after it. I remember those weeks, we really got after it in anticipation of that. But it was also interesting because everybody had gone home from school. So when we would get done with practice, there was all this time to kill. And we were spending a lot of time thinking about it for sure. So just trying to stay busy, get after it in practice. And then we were just excited to wait and see.
Well, your team does get the call there in 2008. Let's focus on your individual career for just a second. Your first 2 years, you hit 4 home runs. Final 2 years as a junior and senior, 35 home runs. This program always talks about being about development, and you really epitomize that. What is the key to that development for you over the final couple years of your career?
Yeah, I think coming in, having a guy that knows hitting so well in Coach Hefner, the first 2 years for me, I think, was a lot of just growing up as a hitter. And there's a lot of things you can get away with as a high school hitter that you can't get away with in college ball, especially when we're playing Division I at a high level against really good pitchers, and they're going to find your weaknesses. And the first 2 years, there was a lot of work with Coach Heath and I just on, hey, being a complete hitter, being able to hit to all fields, and really getting to a place where you can square the ball up, in most circumstances. And then once we got to a place where we felt like that was consistent, it was really a conversation or a couple conversations that Coach Hefner came and had with me that was like, hey, we want you to take the next step, which is, introducing more power into your game. And so we worked, just like the guys do now. We worked in individuals, we worked in practices on driving the ball and trying to hit with power. And really, that fall going into junior year, I feel like some things clicked for me. And just him coming to me and giving me permission was a lot of it. The role that I had played up to that point was largely as a leadoff hitter. And so it's like, get on base, hit line drives, we need you on. Whereas now the role was, hey, we want you to try to drive the baseball. And so him giving me permission and trusting me with that, I think allowed me to free up and go, it's okay if I swing and miss every now and then, with the intention of trying to do more damage. And so that was a big deal. But honestly, I wouldn't have gotten to that place or taken that step without, intentionally like the investment of Coach Hefner in my swing to know how to do that. So
that's on the field. Let's focus on off the field, if we can here for just a second. Coaches always credit players like yourself and Ryan Millard, Austin Knight as the ones that change the culture when it comes to the discipleship side of the program. Take us through your relationship with those aforementioned guys and how that foundation really was laid during your time.
Yeah, I mean, the timing couldn't have been better in a lot of ways because, Austin and Millard and I came in together and we were part of the same recruiting class. And so as freshmen, Austin Knight and I were roommates. And then the next year, Millard moved in with Austin and I in a townhome. So we lived together and then we were playing together. And I think one of the things that we all three of us had in common was there was a desire not only to grow as baseball players, but we really were hungry to know more about the Lord. And this place, DBU and then the DBU baseball program and Coach Hefner talking to us through discipleship, it really created a culture of like, we want to go deeper with the Lord. And, okay, knowing that God has put us in this place to be a baseball player, how do we live out our faith within the context of baseball? And that was really impactful. And so I felt like we have 4 years to really go deep on what that looks like. And those guys and I mean, they're still my closest friends, and so that has carried over not just in baseball, but life outside of baseball now in work and family. And so that's been awesome.
He's Ryan Enos. He played 4 years here at DBU, All-American in 2010, and he has been our guest today on Coming Home.